remember where we left last time? Where did we stop last time?
So we stopped जहाँ पे वो point था, death and sleep. Sleep and death. Both are the same. We wait.
Both are the same.
Yes,
Correct.
Same. Yes. वो completely सारा वो सर्कल समझाया था कि कैसे वो सेम होते हैं और जस्ट एज ए हम स्लीप में सब कुछ भूल जाते हैं फिर उठते हैं और ऐसे ही डेथ में होता है. तो अगर डेथ का प्रोसीजर समझना है तो स्लीप एंड वेकफुलनेस और डीप स्लीप.
Correct.
यस. इसके बाद तो शायद थोड़ा सा किया था वो नहीं बच गया.
पर्सनालिटी का इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं किया था क्या?
किया था सर, थोड़ा सा किया था. आपने बोला था ये बहुत लंबा है तो 1 आवर लग जाएगा.
हाँ ठीक. तो अभी ठीक. So where did we stop? मैं वो पॉइंट ढूंढ रहा हूँ. हाँ. So death and sleep are very similar, and when we get up, if it is from death, then it means we enter a new body, the form of which has already been decided based on the various thoughts and activities of the individual concerned. Okay, so we take that new incarnation in a new mask, a new personality. Correct? So that is where we had stopped. Yes, now I recollect. Right? So what is this new personality in that case? So we will start with that today. Right?
Okay,
so,
yes.
Yeah. So the meaning of the word personality comes from the word persona.
Yes sir.
Right? This I had explained last time also.
Yes, हाँ, completely हो गया था ये सर.
हाँ. Through which the actor, who is the actor? Actor is the doer.
Doer, yes.
Correct. And he speaks, he does all the actions depending upon the personality that he is representing or masquerading. Okay. So when we likewise, when we enter a new incarnation, right, it is necessary to understand that like the actor, whenever we take a new form, we get into the new personality, we don that particular role with which we come here, correct? So it is necessary to have this understanding, right? There are a lot of people who think that their situation is because of an accident, or they say that I mean, you remember he used the words karma and all these things, which are actually the thought of the individual.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, synonym words.
Correct. And
Correct.
we start blaming, right? We start blaming, saying that that is because of my bad luck, etc. But there is nothing like that. It is all based on law and justice. And this law and justice is derived from none other than the laws pertaining to the actions that have been taken or the thoughts that the person has towards the end of his life or in his past life. Based on that, to reset that energy spent, right? He takes that life and all actions happen in line with that. That is where we have stopped, correct? In the
Correct, sir.
present or in the future life on the earth, we have to separate all those things. Only thing is, it is like sowing a seed. Our thought and our actions are like sowing a seed or writing a prescription. When will this prescription fill itself and become effective as destiny? We cannot predict. It can happen now. It can happen in the coming time frames. There is no control on that particular aspect. Correct. So he uses the term in sleep as in death till re-entry. So that is, what does this mean? Which phase is this? In sleep as in death till re-entry. A day and a life are the same. Clear? So there is no difference between a day or a lifetime. They are recurring periods of a continuous existence in which the doer works out its destiny and balance its human account with life. Night and death too are very much alike. Just like a day and lifetime are essentially the same, night and death, that is the night state and the death state, are also very much alike, where we slip away to let our body rest and sleep. We go through a set of experiences very similar to the ones that in either case we go through very similar kind of experiences, and they are very similar to that which we go through when we leave the body at death. The experiences are very similar in either case. Our nightly dreams, moreover, are to be compared with after-death states through which we regularly pass. Both are phases of subjective activity of the doer. Correct. Those are all activities of the doer. And in both, we live over our waking thoughts and actions, our senses still functioning in nature. But in this case, it is in the interior states of the nature. What is interior states of the nature?
When we are in sleep.
Correct. So, interior nature of states. What are the states of nature? Our interior units are also nature units. Remember that.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So our senses still functioning in nature, but in the interior. So whatever thoughts and actions we have had when we were wakeful, those similar ones are now working on our interior states of nature. And the nightly period of deep sleep, when the senses no longer function. So एक में है डेथ जैसा, जिसमें the nightly period में deep sleep में है, we don't know whether they are working or not, right? It is
Right.
characterized by the state of forgetfulness in which there is no memory of anything corresponding to the blank period. That means deep sleep में जब रहते हैं, we don't recall anything. Correct? We wait on the threshold of the physical world until the moment that we re-enter or reconnect with our senses. So how will we define deep sleep or death? Sir, under dream sleep, we are connected with our worldly thoughts, wherein all those thoughts are working on nature, but they are inwardly directed nature states. Correct?
Correct.
Now, let us think in terms of the states which are what we call which are in the under the circumstances of deep sleep. उधर क्या होता है डीप स्लीप में? डीप स्लीप में we are not aware, right? Those are all the blank periods, and during such blank periods we are waiting for re-entry. That re-entry could be the same body if we are alive, or it could be a new body. We reconnect with our senses in a new body of flesh, the infant body or the child body that has been fashioned for us. So deep sleep mein, you are actually in two states. One, your senses are not functioning. And if it is your senses are not functioning, you are waiting for reconnection with your body. Correct?
Correct.
कोई आके जगह आए या कुछ भी करे, then maybe we will get up like Janaka, the story that I was telling you, Virendra sir.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, वो सच.
Yes. Yeah.
And his guru
Right.
said, ये भी सच और वो भी सच. Right. And
Right.
so, and this blank period, if it were death, then we are waiting to get reconnected. We are resting. Now, in the 12 states that we saw, this is the resting period. That is, the first 6 are over.
Yes.
Correct. You are able to connect with that, correct?
Correct.
Gurvinder ji, you are also able to connect.
Yes, sir.
The 12 states that we discussed, this is the 6th stage. If it is post to death, it is the 6th stage. If it is on this earth, it is deep sleep. And we are waiting for re-entry into the body. Correct? Yeah. Thus, we commence a new life when we are conscious as in a haze. Right? So, if it is a new life, we start with a hazy life, or it will be like Janaka Maharaj when he gets up from his deep sleep, ye bhi sach, wo bhi sach.
Yes.
So we start with a state of confusion, right? In this deep sleep. So when we commence a new life, right? We feel that we are a distinct and definite something. We have that feeling. Even as a baby, we have that feeling. This feeling of I-ness or selfness is probably the only real thing of which we are conscious for a considerable time. That means we are in the survival mode also, correct?
Correct.
And everything else is mystery. It is a wonder. You give a toy to a child, it will first look at it from all angles. Correct? For a while, we are bewildered. perhaps even distress. That is why the child cries after it comes out of the mother's womb. It is in distress. It is confused. Kya ho raha hai? By our strange new body and unfamiliar surroundings. We are able to compare the two situations, right? Either deep sleep or otherwise.
Yes, sir.
How many times has it happened with us that we get up from a deep sleep and first question or first thought that occurs to us is, "Main kahan hu? Where am I?"
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And then slowly then we start wondering, what is this? How come I don't think I remember having seen this? And slowly we recollect and we come back, right?
Yes.
Right.
Correct. Now, for a child in the new body, it is not able to come back to this, but the confusion exists. Where am I? Why is this so different? Everything. Because there is a memory always. The memory of our past will always be with us. Correct. So, right? But as we learn how to operate our body and use its senses, we tend to gradually identify ourselves with, like we teach a child, right? I am now currently teaching my grandson. So when someone says his name, he will look up. So he is recognizing his name now. Then tomorrow I will teach him how to play with a toy, how to recognize a toy, the dangers of life, all these things. So there are others who are always surrounding us who will help us recognize ourselves in terms of identifying ourselves with our body.
Present. Yes.
Correct. So we are
Correct.
made to feel that we are the body, and we get so lost in that kind of a life that we completely forget that we are more than that body. We become less and less conscious that we are something distinct from our body, and so we get into this body. Probably till we reach an age, and then we learn that there is more than that. And as we grow out of childhood, we will lose touch with practically everything that is not perceptible to the senses or conceivable in terms of the senses. So that means once we are completely under the control of senses, what does it mean? From a spiritual tablet perspective, Sochi.
Sir, repeat.
Huh?
Just repeat the question. Just repeat the question.
See, as we keep growing, right?
Yeah.
We are being conditioned by everyone around us that we are the physical body. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So we start losing the consciousness that we are many things beyond the consciousness. Beyond the physical body.
Yes.
That we are aware till someone teaches us that we are only the body.
Yes.
And we come to a stage that we only recognize anything by virtue of our senses. Right?
Yes.
So, if our senses are four, the smell, taste, and sound and sight. Correct?
Sight.
Correct. So, right? Anything that we cannot sense, we will be mentally imprisoned in the physical world. That is what happens, correct? If you are living in this one, so when you are imprisoning yourself in the physical world,
Yes, sir.
What mode are you living in? We are living in the illusions of the
Illusion.
physical world. That means under the influence of the lower three chakras.
Lower three chakras. Yes.
In the survival mode.
In the survival, where we forget who am I.
Correct.
Yes.
No, where we limit our who am I to the physical world. Anything that I can perceive through my senses.
Yes.
Under these conditions, we are necessarily a lifelong mystery to ourselves. Correct?
Correct.
Where did you come from? How did you become? How did you gain this body? All these things we are not able to perceive. We are not able to construct them. So we are living, and all these are wonders for us. Correct. Now, let us go a bit further. And this greater mystery, how are we supposed to understand our real self, which is definitely beyond this greater mystery, right? A greater mystery is our real self. Or that greater self, which is not the body. Not in or out of this world of birth and death, of time and so on, but which is consciously immortal. Is there a part of our body which is not in this world? Right? We are supposed to identify that real self. That becomes another purpose of life.
Yes.
All this is the introduction to purpose and plan of life. Don't forget that. So what has happened? We have seen sleep. Then when we get up and enter into a new body, right, we are firstly confined to the fact that we are forced to live in the survival mode because of circumstances, because of our learning, because of our forgetfulness, all these things put together. Correct? Now, that mystery we have to decipher. That is another purpose of life. So what is this greater self then? It is not in this body. It is not subject to life and death. Both these are indicating to the soul, correct?
Correct. Soul.
Correct. Now, it is consciously immortal in. The moment it is immortal, where is it residing?
In the body, physical form.
Huh?
So where a mortal reside, no? Okay.
Huh? It is in the realm of permanence. We saw this few classes ago.
Yeah.
What is realm of permanence? When the soul is completely in balance.
In balance. Yes.
Correct. So, see, not in our body, that real self, our real self is not in this body. It is not in this world of birth and death, but which is consciously immortal in the all-pervading realm of permanence.
Sir, what is the meaning of consciously immortal?
Sir, see, first of all, there are two different words. Immortal means it doesn't have a rebirth.
Okay.
Because of its awareness, it doesn't have rebirth.
Yes.
because it
Okay.
is not consciously under the influence of feeling and desire. Correct?
Well, it is at such a high stage,
It is at that highly balanced state.
highly balanced stage.
Correct.
That may be that can we say it's a final stage?
It is not
The
final.
highest possible.
No,
highest
highest is supreme intelligence.
Okay, okay.
This is part of the triune self. But please remember that as we read further, we will get to that. This
Okay.
supreme intelligence is also subject to the gaps in desire and feeling.
I see. Okay.
There is no exception to the law of thought.
Okay.
And the execution of law and law of thought for the people physically on the earth, the power for them to act comes from the feeling and desire and thinking.
Yes, three
Correct.
things.
But
Yes.
feeling, thinking, and desiring together is the law of thought, which is the destiny.
Okay.
So this feeling, thinking, and desiring together is what is the destiny.
Right,
So
sir.
even the government of the worlds,
Okay.
which is from the realm of permanence, is subjected to the destiny.
Yes.
But this destiny is not someone else's creation. It is our
Correct.
creation, and they are the custodians of execution.
Okay. Yes.
Right? Now, they are also continuously subjected to test.
Okay.
And if they keep on passing, they will keep progressing.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right? Now, so what is happening? This real self is in constant touch with us in the physical world. But residing where? Residing in the realm of permanence.
Permanence.
And the
Yes.
presence with us through all our lifetimes.
Okay. Yes.
That is the doer portion of the triune self in our physical body.
Yes. That's the soul.
That is the soul.
Okay.
Correct?
Correct,
Which is
sir.
nothing but in the physical world, it is the breath form. Right? Through all
Right.
our interludes of sleep and death. This is there in all our lifetimes. It is also there in all our interludes of sleep and death. Matlab, क्या है? Right? Through all our interludes. That means the temporary hold-ups from sleep and death. But it is always with us in terms of guiding us in all our lifetimes. Right?
Right, sir.
So as man, our lifelong search for something that will satisfy is in reality the quest for our real self, the identity. Our real identity is gut self. The one that we forget, right?
Yes,
The
sir.
selfness and I-ness, which each one is dimly conscious of and feels and desires to know. We also keep knowing, right? The moment we understand that we are not the physical body, right?
Right.
We are also knowing that there is something there that we need to know.
Hmm.
We feel that,
Yes.
we desire to know. Hence, the real self is to be identified as self-knowledge. Right? The real, though unrecognized goal of human seeking. That is the self-knowledge. Self-knowledge, in other terms, is self-awareness. Right?
Self-awareness. Yes.
It is the permanence, the perfection, the fulfillment which is looked for but never found in human relations and effort. Right? So that becomes one
Yes.
of the purpose. Gaining self-knowledge is one of the purpose of life. Recognizing that we are more than the body and there is some part of us in the permanence. We need to understand what it is, right?
Right.
Further, the real self is the ever-present counselor and judge that speaks in the heart as conscience and duty. Mark these words, conscience and duty. It speaks into us. It is the counselor sitting inside us as righteousness and reason, as law and justice. So it is doing three things, correct?
Hmm.
This real self, the presence, right? That we are not able to recognize,
Yes.
is
Yes.
not seen in the human relationship and effort, but is inside us, which we want to identify through self-knowledge, right? It is that
Right.
component inside us that speak to us.
Hmm.
So where is it speaking from? It is helping us discriminate from the right and wrong, law and justice, right? And it
Right.
is speaking to us as conscience in our heart.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
Correct?
Correct.
That is also part of the triune self again. But he is the doer inside our body. Remember that.
Okay.
Without which man would be little more than an animal. So one thing we gather here is that real self which is speaking to us as conscience and duty, as righteousness and reason, as law and justice, is the one that is differentiating us from an animal.
Hmm.
Correct? Is the one that
Correct,
is
sir.
making us different from an animal.
Correct.
Correct? Now, there is such a self. It is of the triune self. In this book, he calls it the doer in the body, and it is the one that is indivisible unit of an individual trinity. So every individual has got the knower, thinker, doer, which is the triune self, which is nothing but manifestation of our individual trinity. Correct? This
Correct, sir.
individual trinity has got the knower part, the thinker part, and the doer part. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And only a portion of the doer part can enter the animal body and make the body human.
Okay.
ये कितना पावरफुल सेंटेंस है, एक बार पढ़ के सोचिए. So a portion of this doer self, however small, can enter the animal body and make that body human. Not only you and me, sir.
Yes, sir.
It can enter any animal body.
Yes, yes.
That means जो कुत्ता हमें प्यार करता है,
Yes.
the domesticated animals also belong to this. ठीक है,
Can we say
उनका
it as a
कॉन्शियस
low?
लेवल अलग होगा.
Can we say it as a lower degree of consciousness they are having compared to us?
See, that one is not clarified here, but they have got a doer.
Doer, part of a doer.
They have got a part of the doer inside them that is giving them that human feeling.
Okay, yes.
Right? So,
Right, sir.
right, that embodied part is what is here termed as the doer in the body.
Yes, yes.
In each human being, the embodied doer is an inseparable part of its own triune self, which is a distinct unit among other triune selves. So every single person has got his own real self,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Which he is also
Right.
calling the higher self or the greater self,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Now, let us go further. In each human being, the embedded doer is an inseparable part of its own triune self, which is a distinct unit among other triune selves. Okay?
Okay.
The thinker and knower parts of each triune self are in the eternal dream of permanence. क्या समझे?
Out of three, the other two parts, thinker and knower, are
parts of
permanent.
each triune self are in the eternal realm of permanence.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Which prevents this world, that is our human world, of birth and death and time. So, each human world is influenced by the individual triune self.
Yes, sir.
और वो जो ब्लैक फिश और गोल्डन फिश है वो भी डलवा देते हैं. ठीक है, कल दोपहर बाद निकलेंगे और उसको ले.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Now, let us go further. The doer in the body is controlled by, who controls the doer in this physical body?
Our senses.
Yes. Like he says, no, the senses are individual beings. with their own level of function or consciousness, and they control, right? By the senses and by the body. So there is the body that is controlling it and the senses, right? Therefore, it is not able to be conscious of the reality of the ever-present thinker and knower parts of its triune self. Samjhe? Everyone with me? Has everyone followed this? Why is that we are not conscious of the reality of the thinker and knower in our body? Can someone explain? Okay, anybody there or nobody there?
पता नहीं है.
कोई है?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Can someone explain this? Why is it that we are not able to recognize the knower and the thinker or our real self?
Because we are controlled by our body and senses.
Correct. So now in meditation, what are you doing?
We are trying to coming out of the clutches of this body and senses.
So can someone, Anu or Gautami, can you explain this? Try. What is happening when we are meditating with respect to the triune self?
सर क्वेश्चन रिपीट, एक्चुअली मेरी 2 कॉल्स आ गई थी तो मेरा बीच में क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर दो प्लीज.
ठीक है. See, the question is coming from this particular comment. Okay? Let me, in each human being, the embodied doer is an inseparable part of its own triune self, which is a distinct unit among the other triune selves. Correct? The moment I say I am a triune self, I have got a doer, I have got a thinker, I have got a knower. Is that right?
Yes.
Right? But my knower and thinker parts are already in the eternal realm of permanence. That pervades
Yes.
the entire human world, the world of birth, death, and time. Correct? Now, the doer in the body is controlled by the senses and by the body. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
Right? So, body is the manifestation, so it will have the 4 units in whatever level of consciousness. And it is controlled by the senses. Therefore, it is not able to be conscious of the reality of the ever-present thinker-knower parts of its own triune self. I wanted someone to explain this. It is not able to recognize why and what happens when we get into meditation. That is the question. Question is clear?
Yes, sir. At some extent, yes, जैसे बताया कि senses and body
हाँ,
की वजह से doer अपना पार्ट भूलने लग जाता है, तो that's the reason that he can't relate with his other two parts, thinker and knower,
हाँ,
because of distraction of senses and body.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in meditation, what are you doing?
We try to reconnect
How?
through as we focus on our breath and on deep meditation by concentration, and
See,
when we
what are you
relate,
doing? See, what are you? हाँ, मीनाक्षी जी, आप भी बोलिए इनके बाद में. हाँ, so let me ask this question. Meditation में सबसे पहले क्या करते हैं आप?
So we are trying to complete the circuit,
Correct.
close the
But
circuit.
what are you doing? I want it to be actually explained. So meditation first step is close your eyes,
Yes, sir.
right? Close your fingers,
Yes, sir.
correct? And lock
Cross.
your ankles, right?
Yes,
Right? And then, so three of your sense parameters are controlled, correct?
control. Yes,
Right? Now,
yes, yes.
the smell, but you are not allowing your memory to act. So you may get the smell, you may not. Right? You are controlling the most active elements
Yes,
of your
by
body and
control.
most active elements of your
Senses.
body and senses.
Senses is yes, and
Correct.
then
When all these are subdued, then the possibility of you connecting
yes,
with your higher self is a possibility.
possibility.
higher
Yes,
Correct?
yes,
And with practice, we will recognize that.
yes,
We also do one more thing. Generally, we put on some music so that even the ears are. So,
subdue,
sight,
hearing,
sound, smell by virtue of thoughts getting focused on the breath, in breath and out breath, right? And then locking the limbs and all. You are trying to control the interference of the senses and the body, right? And get into a sleep state. In this sleep state, what is happening? You are actually going inward. The moment you start going inward, you can make all these connections. Once you subdue your external world influences, you are able to open up and get into the connection. Correct? So, that is what is happening. Okay,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
It misses, right? Because of this, it misses that the objects of senses blind it and the coils of flesh hold it. You're seeing the comparison. The ability of your recognizing your own, the connectivity with your own triune self is restricted by the senses because the senses bind it and the coils of flesh hold it. It does not see beyond the objective forms, right? It fears to free itself, from the fleshy coils and stand alone. इसीलिए it wants to get into that comfort zone. When the embodied doer proves itself willing and ready to dispel the glamour of the sense illusions, its thinker and knower are always ready to give it light on the way to self-knowledge. Right? Now you are able to follow what is happening when we are meditating.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes.
But the embodied doer in search for the thinker and knower looks abroad. That means he is looking outside. Not in meditation, but generally. Identity or the real self has always been a mystery to the thinking human being in every civilization. He is looking outside, but actually he is not outside, as we will see now. Okay, do you want me to go into this, or we will do it tomorrow? This is also pretty large. Tomorrow means Monday. What do you want me to do? The time is 8 o'clock.
I think Monday will be better.
Yes.
Right. So, today's topic is that clear,
Yes, yes. So far it is clear. Yes.
right?
Yes.
सर एक बार दोबारा से सुनेंगे इसको अच्छे से YouTube
हाँ,
पे
जरूर
आप-
सुनिएगा. नहीं, but see the beauty.
Yeah.
इतना wonderfully construct कर रहा है. Actually, in the